Hi, and welcome to the ChiroCentral portion of the Max Life Show. I'm here with a friend of mine, a great chiropractor, comes from a family of chiropractors. Maybe you could talk to them about that a little bit. Dr. Joel Bohemier.
Yes. Hi, everybody.
I think I said that right after all these years. I'm pretty close.
Impressive. Yeah.
So you come from an enormous family of chiropractors. Maybe you could just tell the audience a little bit about that first.
Yeah. Well, I have about 42 chiropractors in my family, and I believe my father was the first, and he was a real sick kid, and had sinus problems and major migraines, and would use a bottle of, in the day, the drug was called Dristan nasal spray, and he would use a bottle of that every single day. So the little old lady down the street told him to see a chiropractor, and my grandfather said over his dead body that he would ever see a chiropractor. But finally she made an appointment after watching him walk by with Dristan in his nose for years, and gave him bus fare, and told her to go to her chiropractor. That chiropractor is still practicing today, by the way.
Wow.
And after going for regular, it took about 3 months, all of a sudden his nose just completely drained and his sinus migraines went away forever. So he believed he had the cure for sinus migraines and became a chiropractor. And the rest is history. Now we are a chiropractic family. So I was blessed to grow up with a different philosophy.
Yeah, we're talking today about above, down, inside out. Greatest principle in the world, but something very few people know about. So when I went to a chiropractor, I had a bad shoulder. Yeah. And so the chiropractor fixed my shoulder, and I thought, man, this is great for shoulders. Then you hear a story like that, oh man, it's good for sinuses too.
That's right.
And you could really break it down like most people do with more of a medical model, which is, is it good for certain things? You get patients come in all the time. Hey, I know somebody who's got migraines. Do you think this would work with migraines?
Yeah.
And obviously our principle is far more powerful than that.
Correct.
So I wanted to talk today about above, down, inside out. As powerful as a principle that is, very few people really understand that. So maybe you can educate us a little bit on audio.
Well, the concept of above, down, inside out is quite simple. It's that there is an organizational intelligence within our body, and that flows from the brain down through the spinal cords, out the nerve. In other words, from above in your head, down through the spinal cord, over the nerves to the organs, and then out. And so if that organizational intelligence is able to flow through your body properly, then you're healthy as you possibly can be, you're happy, you're functioning to the best of your ability, and optimize or maximize. And that's really at the core of chiropractic. That's at the core of what we do. So the answer whenever somebody asks me, do you help with migraines or do you help with this? It's, well, if they're subluxated, not because we treat those conditions, but because we know that if that organizational intelligence is getting to the cells in the body, then by definition, they're going to be functioning properly.
Yeah, and it's powerful because if you think about it, there's no condition the body hasn't healed. So
Correct.
Everyone who's ever had a migraine should know that there are people who have gotten over migraines, where their body's healed it, it's gone. Everyone with cancer should know there are plenty of people, millions, who have had cancer and their body has healed it and it's gone, or heart disease, or foot pain, or sinus trouble. And so then it's, well, what is the principle behind that? Why does one guy heal or one person doesn't? And the principle is that the body can heal anything as long as there isn't interference, as long as it's able to express this intelligence you're talking about to its full potential. Then no matter what it is, you have the chance to get well.
Well, the beauty is including the things that me as a chiropractor taking care of a patient don't know about. So just this week, a lady with fertility issues was able to have a baby, got conceived. I had a lady who had hemorrhoid issues who canceled her surgery because that healed. Yeah. Or the gentleman with blood pressure issues who normalized. And in each of those cases, I was never told about those problems in those people. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So they never told me that they had that condition. That's not why they saw me in the first place, but it was a byproduct of that organizational intelligence. So it's pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, one of our mentors said that if I drop the keys, they always fall.
Correct.
Because gravity always works and chiropractic always works, and that it doesn't matter whether the patient believes or whether the doctor believes or even knows what the condition is. We remove the interference, maximize potential, and the body has its greatest chance to heal itself of whatever is going on. And we talk about even the silent miracles. So it's great that your headache went away, it's great that your blood pressure normalized, but what was developing? And that's when they talk about prevention. I hate the word prevention, because like prevent defense in football, you always start giving up points. It's not prevention, it's building health. It's offensive. It's an aggressive assault on disease by really making sure you're always at your maximum potential and you're normal, so you're not developing a problem. You're not trying to slow something down or taking a preventative mammogram where once you find something, it's there. So that's not really prevention. It's early detection, which means you already have it. Yeah. And so
it's
tell me about that.
But that's a whole other other issue.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been adjusted for 39 years. I'm 39 years old. I've been adjusted my entire life. Is it because my back hurts? My back does not hurt.
Yeah.
I don't get headaches or sinus problems or digestive issues. I get adjusted to make sure that my body is optimized, that it functions to the best of its ability. And that's really the key. And that's really counterculture today, because the culture today is just waiting to break down and then trying to patch up whatever has broken down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's expensive and it doesn't work.
It's expensive and it doesn't work. And so the idea is, like you're saying, build health, and chiropractic allows you to do that. And
from above, down, inside out, there's another component, that there's this universal intelligence. So I call it God. There's these books in chiropractic that will use universal intelligence, and then that part of that universal intelligence is that innate intelligence. So there's there's a wisdom of the body, that the intelligence that made trees and makes oceans, the intelligence that makes grass grow, that controls the entire universe. We have that same intelligence that creates human life. Because they can't, that one thing they can never do in science, they can't do in a laboratory, is create a living cell from scratch. Yeah. And so there is something supernatural about the body, which when we talk about removing the interference, we're really releasing something very, very powerful in humans.
Well, no question about it. And I also, we've heard the comment that in chiropractic, from that philosophical perspective from God down through the body, is that when we give an adjustment, we connect the spiritual with the physical body, and that connection allows for your purpose to unfold in life. So really it's amazing, and I don't even know if it was meant to be. I don't know if D.D. Palmer, the founder, discoverer of chiropractic, or B.J. Palmer, the developer of chiropractic, ever, when they were talking about above, down, inside out, I don't know if they were thinking of the two different levels of above, down, inside out concepts, but I mean, it is so powerful and awesome that you're able to connect them to the source. It's pretty awesome.
And that could sound a little abstract or kind of granola crunchy or too spiritual for some people, but the reality is, you look at the greatest scientist of all time, Einstein, said that science without religion is lame.
Yeah.
And then religion without science is blind, is what he said. So the point being that, sure, we understand the science of the brain controlling the body through the nerve system, so the wisdom of the body can control the functions in the organs and things can stay well or get well. Yeah. That makes sense scientifically, but also understanding there is something freakishly supernatural about everyone who's watching this show today, that if I have two people, one's dead, one's just hanging on, that there's still life in that body hanging on. There's still a chance to make it and to overcome whatever the issues are that have got that person in a sickly condition. There's a power there. And it's the power that created the universe is still there, that spark of life that no one can ever quite understand. And I wanted to kind of wrap up going into that today, because there's conditions that people would think I'm overpowered by. There's nothing I can do about them. And then that's the thing I really dislike most about medication, is instead of saying, I've got this power that can heal, that I'm able to heal, that I'm a powerful, valuable, capable person, we'll say, you're not. You need this drug. You need this chemical from the outside in to get you well, instead of becoming well from the inside out, using your own power. And so so one condition I look at is depression, because somebody gets to the point where they're thinking there's nothing I can do about the lack of joy I have in my life. And they get to that place, and that rather than saying I can overpower this and become glad again and lead a happy, positive life, we turn to a drug you'll take chronically the rest of your life, and a drug that obviously is very dangerous over time.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that, and if I'm allowed to say it, I think that medicine teaches us and leads us to depression because it allows us to be hopeless, and it allows us to feel lesser than, like you were saying, because we believe that we were made wrong and we were genetically programmed for disease, and we have to be on this pill for the rest of your life. You don't feel good about yourself when you're told that you're kind of useless
Right.
in that manner, right? And chiropractic is the exact opposite. And that's why, even going back to the above, down, inside out with this connecting the spiritual and physical, how often in your practice do you get patients who are like, because I came to see you, I've now found my purpose.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm adjusting your spine. It's amazing, but it happens on a relatively frequent basis, and it's because of that connection, and they're restored and renewed again. And so the idea of depression being hopeless is sad, but it's so frequent today. And the idea of thinking that you're going to take a pill to alter brain chemistry to fix all the problems is a total lie. And science supports the fact that it's a lie, but they still do it over and over and over and over again. And the side effect is depression.
Yeah.
Worse depression.
Yeah, and as somebody who's really suffering like that, you could see why they'd reach out to what seems to be the closest port in a storm.
Yes.
There's just no future to it, is the problem. And even I've got an article here, a couple articles. You know, this one, all scientific journals, antidepressants double the risk of depression, which is what you were just saying a second ago. And that they'll use these things for virtually anything. So GlaxoSmithKline lost a $3 billion settlement, quite a bit of money, for promoting the drug for unapproved uses. This was Paxil and Wellbutrin. They promote it for weight loss and an upset stomach. Bribing doctors for prescribing certain GSK drugs, failing to notify the FDA about the side effects of these antidepressant medications, and another drug, a diabetes drug. And so I think what people miss is that this is a great moneymaker. And so while there might be some small percentage of people that always need a drug of some kind, the bottom line is that everyone has hope. You know, the hope is defined as a positive imagination about the future, that there's always hope. Certainly the first step should be ADIO.
Yeah, well, there's no question about it. Just to add to that, it's interesting because the medications do have an effect on behavior, but it's not because they're getting to the cause of the problem.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the cause that they've proposed of the serotonin problem you don't make serotonin in your body is totally false and has been refuted.
It's been disproven even recently.
Disproven by science. And so because there's an effect, it's the equivalent of saying, well, imagine a lady who has a social anxiety disorder or something like that, problem where she gets nervous in crowds, and saying, well, if you treat her with 2 glasses of alcohol before she gets into those settings, her behavior changes and she becomes fine.
Yeah.
Now, alcohol is the cure for social anxiety disorder, and then you do that treatment for 10 years, they have trouble coming off of it, and you say, see, there's the proof, she needed it.
Yeah.
Because she's having trouble coming off her 10-year alcoholic binge. You know, that's what they're doing with depression, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm a big Bang Theory watcher, and there's this Dr. Koothrappali, and he needs to drink in order to talk to women. And so that becomes how he solved them. Like, that's going to be a rough marriage if you got to drink every night to talk to your wife. Not a great solution, and it has some side effects.
Correct.
Actually, there's another article I pulled out here, antipsychotic drugs linked to sudden cardiac death. I think that's the point too, is that when you're allowing the power that made the body heal the body, when you're actually removing the interference, letting the body function well as the primary method for getting healthy and staying healthy, there's no side effects. You know, there's nothing bad could ever happen.
Exactly.
Versus there's always a side effect anytime you use a chemical to manipulate the body into feeling or functioning differently.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important part, if somebody is suffering from that, is to know that they can heal, that they have that wisdom within them to be restored, and it takes a little bit of work. There's no question about it. However, it is possible, as we've seen so often in practice.
Yeah, and part of the intention of my practice for years, we had a class every week about finding your purpose, about breaking free from. We had people, for example, a guy was a landscaper. But you could tell this guy had great potential. God had big plans for him, and he decided, however, at one point he was a landscaper, but starts getting adjusted, starts getting well, the body begins to function again, the brain starts to kick on again. He starts coming to a class that's saying, yeah, we can break free and go to another level. He then goes back to college and ends up being a landscape architect and is a multimillionaire now.
Wow.
From when I met him, making $7 an hour. And I've got probably 100 stories like that because of what happens when you allow the power of ADIO to start working in your life again. So great stuff. I want to finish up. We've got what we call our Rorschach speed round. This is where we get to learn a little bit about you. It's just, you're just saying the first thing that comes to your mind. You have 1 second to answer. Remember, there's no wrong answers, just wrong people.
Great, thanks.
T-shirt or polo?
Polo.
Nature or nurture?
Nature.
Madonna or Beyonce?
Madonna.
I'm glad you said that. Canadian hockey player that no one in the U.S. has ever heard of?
Jim Sykes. No one will know that. Even hockey fans don't know that one.
That's good.
1981 Winnipeg Jets.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is an obscure reference there. All right, last thing. We Curly in the movie City Slickers said there was one thing that you should focus on. So if they're going to go back and begin to experience the power of what we've been talking about today, what is the one thing people out there should be doing?
Visit your chiropractor. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, it's impacted my life so much, and I've seen how many it's impacted thousands and thousands of people, that it's really the beginning of changing your mindset for the rest of your life on how you approach health.